So here we are with lesson 14 in Learn the Shot, the Swings for Free. Now on the Dutchess practice ground at Welburn Golf and Country Club, it's a lovely secluded spot, and we can hit shots off grass here and practice our chipping and our pitching. Now in last session's lessons we talked about chipping in depth. We talked about hitting a putter and then a 6-iron and then a wedge, and we understood that chipping was a non-wristy movement. So if I hit a shot from here, my shoulders, my arms, the club like a Y shape. The biggest chip I can hit is to about here. That's as far as my shoulders allow. So you could say this is a quarter chip, this is half a chip, this is a 3/4 chip, and this is a full chip. Now obviously if I hit shots with those different lengths of backswings, I'm going to get different lengths of shots. So let me do that. I'm going to hit a quarter chip. The leading edge of the club is between my feet. A quarter and through. Flies about 20 yards. Now I'll do half a pitch, or half a chip, sorry. And that went up to about 35 to 40 yards. This will be a 3/4 chip, about here. None of these shots have any wrist hinge at all. And now for the full scale chip. My best shoulder turn. That actually goes with a pitching wedge, a 52-degree pitching wedge. That shot flies through there about 100 yards. And most of the shots you have on the golf course are certainly around within 100 yards. So if you get proficient with chipping with the pitching wedge, we've already dialed in 4 different lengths of shot. But because we've understood the chip in progressive stages, we can now understand what a pitch is. I have the capacity to turn my shoulders to 90 degrees. There's no wrist hinge here. If I add wrist hinge of 90 degrees, you can now see I have a full swing. I've got 90 shoulder and 90 wrist. That is a full pitching swing. So it's quite simple really. If you want to hit a quarter pitch, you take a quarter chip and add a quarter wrist hinge. If you want a half a pitch, it's half a chip and half a wrist hinge. A 3/4 pitch is a 3/4 chip and 3/4 wrist. As I just showed you, a full pitch is full shoulder and full wrist. But we're mixing the cocktail of shoulder turn to wrist hinge. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to hit you a quarter pitch. A little bit of shoulder, a little bit of wrist. There'll be a bit more club head speed over the quarter chip because as a wrist hinge, I can move the club head more quickly. So here's half a pitch, in other words, half a chip and half a wrist. Just mixing those two. The dangerous thing is to think that the short game is a gentle art. It's not gentle at all. You've got to play shots with conviction. Here's a 3/4 pitch. That's flying about 85 yards through the air. So I'll finish off now with the full shoulder turn and the full wrist hinge, and that will be a full pitch. That's flying about 110 yards. So there we have it. Chipping is non-wristy and pitching engages the wrists. If you add a chipping stroke to your wrist hinge, then you start to pitch properly. In all those shots, I did them off a square stance. In a later session, I'll show you how to play those shots from an open stance.